Hello and welcome, dear friends of the human family, to one more video update here in this very intense time that we're in right now. Things are moving thick and fast, and it's quite amazing, to be honest, to witness. So I thought I'll do a video because we have just had the announcement just now by the placed puppet men, empty shells called politicians, that are empty shells for the Wetiko force, the force in the background. Okay, so we can perceive politicians working for an international banking crime syndicate. Okay, that we can implement factually. Also, we can gather facts and evidence for that. However, behind that, there is the element of what Carlos Castaneda described as the topic of all topics, meaning that humanity is not on top of the food chain. And to quote in his words, we are a food source. Our low vibrational emotions in form of fear, in form of anger, in form of low vibrations are a food source to a particular type of being. That being an energetic being that feeds off our energy, and therefore they need to keep the terror going. So, what's going on in Austria? I'm going to give you my perspective on what's really going on, and you can expect that I won't stay with the mainstream or even alternative narrative on how devastating it is what's going on, because it is what it is and we have to face it no matter what it is. Okay, we're going through this and we're gonna come through this as the winner. Alright, so look at this. They're going warp speed ahead. This is from just now. Austria imposes compulsory vaccination from February the 1st and nationwide lockdown starting on Monday. We've gone warp speed. Unbelievable. Inside days things change. And all the people that have taken the injection, they've taken it for nothing. Why? Because the political placemen have to put in these measures because they have to keep to their agreed contracts that has been signed. And in their bubble of the international crime syndicate, when you break a contract, that is for them breaking the law. So these agents of these satanic networks, in their perception of law is all about contracts, and you have to keep those contracts in. So when you're underneath the 80, or is it 85, or is it 100% of everyone that has to get the jab, when you're underneath that, you have to continue putting pressure on, because eventually it's about the pressure being applied on humanity in order to give food sustenance to the beings that are running this criminal system. That's what it's really about. Okay, so they're going fully ahead with their fear and exposing themselves completely as the fascists that they are. And these are the people that we have here in Austria, dictating what your behavior should be. To them, you've never left kindergarten or school, because in their view and the ideology that they represent, which is the ideology of their masters, the satanic cult leaders, who since 2020 have officially exposed the world to their satanic ritual, which is what is happening every single day. It's a giant satanic ritual, and it is a initiation into the dark new world order. Okay? And that's why people have to wear the muzzles, okay? Not breathe oxygen, which is fundamental to our health. But for these people, it's all about self-harm. So you cause self-harm to yourself. Human beings get their energy and their power also through touch and being there for each other, physical attraction, and giving each other hugs. That's normal to human beings. And a baby dies if it is not touched in the first 5 days. So therefore you've got the social distancing there. And then we go full blown into the satanic by having an experimental injection, okay, and wanting to force all of that according to the plans of their masters and according to the agenda of transhumanism, of cyborgization of all of humanity on Earth. Okay, this is what this is all about. And instead of the natural, like for example, my entire family here has the disease. I have nothing. I have no symptoms. Because I go out in nature every day. I do the opposite. I go into the ice cold water in winter. And my immune system is great. It's doing perfect. That is the natural way. And in Satanism you invert everything. So you go the artificial way, the technological way. But technology not for the benefit of humanity, but for the control of humanity. And this is how far we've come, is that the new laws, the new guidelines are presented in the media. So if I don't have this crap TV at home, not listening to these psychopathic maniacs, I don't get to hear anything what goes on and what's new. And I just go along my day as usual. That's how deep the illusion goes. And they don't sign anything of their paperwork even. Okay? So all of these so-called regulations are not laws, and everyone is privately liable enforcing those quote-unquote laws which are not laws, because they're not authorized to do that. And this all has to do with the number one thing, okay, the number one thing we need in the world right now is to set our law. Whatever is happening right now, write to anyone you can write to in your surrounding area, or on a political level, write to these people and set your law. Oh, you want to force vaccinate me? This is, when you come to my premise, costs you 369 million euros. Because I'm going to explain to you how everyone's privately liable, and you have to prove to me that I signed a contract over to you where you make the decisions for my health. So the number one thing in this world, and that's why all outside in the public, we're always being presented with, we've got constitutions, we've got human rights, and we've got this. When we don't, you only have all the rights and all the freedom when you express that right. And their system of commerce, okay, that's why they do everything in contracts. Their system of commerce is paper-based. So if they can't show any signature from you where you have given your consent to this experimental agenda, you then use one of the biggest weapons they have, which is the money supply, against them. Okay, as I talked about yesterday also, as according to the principle of Aikido, the Aikidoka doesn't win because of a clash of strengths, but because he uses the force that is applied on him from the enemy. He uses that energy against the enemy. So let's use the money. Oh, you want to come here? Oh, you want to lock me up? Everything is illegal under your system. This is an insurance system. You're not liable for what you're doing to me, so I'm making you liable. And whoever you're interacting with right now in this system always have a camera with you. This is your evidence, and this is how the law system really works. Okay, and we can even take over the money system through applying the law, natural law, that being. So what these satanic cult leaders want to do with the way the media works is to corral our consciousness into a shared space, into a controlled environment, inside a spectrum of frequency that resonates to fear. That is the only reality where all of this applies. That is the only reality. By corralling and manipulating our conscious attention into a shared space, as is shown here as this room. Because the fact of the matter is that we create our reality. And this comes from the principle of sovereignty. If we are truly sovereign in our truth, if we are truly sovereign, then our will is stronger than the will of the environment, and nothing can be imposed on you. It has to be like that. This is the power of the One. No one can force you to do anything. They cannot break free will. However, we have to state the law before anything happens. That's the trick. And if they go ahead anyway, although this is against your free will, then they, meaning the politicians, lose immunity. That's how they do it, and that's what they're most fearful of. So again, they want to corral our consciousness into a frequency bubble of fear that resonates to fear for the food source, and only there does all of these guidelines apply. But then expand your perception. You're not inside that room. What you've just seen and the politicians in your respective countries don't exist anymore in your sovereign reality, where you are the commander of your reality, because you came here to do something completely different than be anyone's slave. Change your perception. That's where all of this applies. And in that fear frequency, they've got your consent. Now we're expanding our consciousness, and we're expanding it even further, where this reality suddenly starts to look less and less material. As I said yesterday, the truth of the matter is, and this is why I always go by principles, and principles are the natural order. This is what the natural order is based on. This reality is not solid, is not material. every single moment is always being born anew. And now, right now, fasten your seatbelts and just go through this birth process. We are birthing the new paradigm. They have lost, and that's why they're ramping up the fear right now in Austria. There's nothing new under the sun. We have to go back to these ancient principles of the natural order that have applied throughout time immemorial. Because if we only stay stuck in the medium of the fear matrix, we are creating that reality. Okay? So you look at an article like this. Oh my God, Austria is going ahead. It's full-blown fascism. It might now come to our country. However, always remember that this reality is malleable. In every moment, your reality is being born anew. Okay? And we create reality, and it's all about our response to the information input that we get. Therefore, it's of utmost importance to know that all of this has to do with responsibility, the ability to respond. That's the crowning of humanity. That's the reason why we got into this mess, is because we hadn't yet learned full responsibility. And now we're learning it as a learning lesson to what's going on outside. When we learn that learning lesson, no one can impose their fascism on us, because this fascism outside is just there to pull us into our heart. And that makes us transcend the medium of the fear matrix, because it's all mind tricks. It's a spell. That's what everything about this imposition of the Covidian cult has been all about. It's a spell on our mind. It only exists in the room, in the frequency of fear, where they want to manipulate our conscious attention into, and that is happening as a feedback loop, also through the alternative media and the mainstream media. Again, I have to keep repeating this because it's so easy to fall back into old ways and be in fear and in worry. That's what keeps us stuck. Mind tricks of the matrix. It's about freedom. And the reason why we stay stuck and still in fear, yes, there's absolutely all reason to have fear. I have that too. When I read a news article like this, for example, as I just showed you, what's happening here in this country, what they want to do, yet I feel fear too, because it's coming up to be healed. And that is what Wetiko, okay, this mind virus, which is a disease that manifests as collective madness, a collective psychosis. And this experience that we've been through now, nearly the last 2 years, is healing our attitude to life. That's what it's healing. Our attitude. That we're really being challenged. How much we really want freedom. And that's what the entire dark force is ultimately here to do, without them even knowing it, because they're too demented to know so. But when we expand our consciousness beyond the wall, beyond the house, when we expand our consciousness, we can see what evil truly serves us. It serves as a learning lesson to distinguish our heart from that evil, to remove our participation in evil, to realize that when we look at the etymology of pure evil, and make no bones about this, what we're facing here right now is pure evil. However, when we look into the etymology of evil, evil is the transgressing of boundaries. So what does that tell us? To set boundaries, which is the law, which is natural law, which is the shining sun at all times, that will always light up a dark room in form of the flame. Education is not the filling of a vessel, but the kindling of a flame. That is the natural law. This is the boundary. The matrix is an insurance system, and you, Mr. Politician, you are not insured to do any of this. And when you are not insured, according to your contract law of your system that you're operating in, that I know more about than you do, you are privately liable up to infinity. Setting the boundary. Don't let this do this to you. This is the divine masculine principle. The forgotten word, no. But we have to do this in our way, in our unique way. Set your intention, write it down on a piece of paper, and it's good enough. Set your boundary. If you show up in front of my door, it's gonna cost you this amount of money. Make me rich, because you're not coming anywhere close to this body, because that reality cannot manifest, because I'm birthing my reality at all times. We only have to understand and integrate what Wetiko is showing us. It is just getting all of our deepest fears up to us. Like with me, they write letters that they want to arrest me, which is my worst nightmare. I'm not buying into the mind tricks of Wetiko any longer. In other words, they want to corral our consciousness into a shared space. That's why communism, worldwide communism with technology, is technocracy. And that's why their V injection only works when everyone else takes the V. It's collectivism. Why? Because it's the fishbowl syndrome of the matrix. For a illusion to become a reality, you need everyone locked into the mainframe. And we are the ones resisting, because we are learning the lesson of history. And we are seeing through what is happening, what is being done to us. This is all a psychological game. It's spiritual warfare. And we have got the guns. They just don't want us to find out that we have all the power. They just want to corral us into that shared space. And they do this with the media. to your mind. The media of the mainstream, which is the biggest problem, down to the left here, of keep wanting new news. It is and will always be the same agenda of total control. And the truth of the matter is, when we understand Wetiko, and we understand the principles of the natural order, and one of the principles is the principle of polarity, is that extremes meet. Extreme darkness in the form of compulsory and forced actions meet the light of the true resistance, of the raw freedom, of the lions that will never sleep no more. That's the truth. And then we break out of the fishbowl of the matrix with our conscious attention, because all of this nightmare, when this nightmare goes fully active, like it is doing right now in Austria, trying to repeat our history again, we are just about to wake up from the dreamscape that is a nightmare. And the matrix bubble is about to burst. This is what this is saying. They're doing things far too fast, too quick, because they have lost control, because there is a great awakening. And tomorrow we're expecting the biggest demonstration in the history of Austria. They cannot escape from the inevitable coming together of humanity, of our human family. Bust the bubble. The matrix is only a mind game. It is inside our psychology, that which is always enslaving us. It's the spell. It has been the spell throughout our life. All these thoughts that are not of our choosing. All these thoughts that come from this source. Wetiko, you're nothing. You can't be free. Those are all the mind tricks to get you to wake up and bust the bubble. This is the true reality of what has been happening over nearly 2 years, and how appropriate this quote is right now. Birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. We are not about to be enslaved forever in a digital totalitarian matrix control grid. We are right now about to break free completely, and I can't wait because I'm tired. It's time. It's time to break through. It's time to break free. Maybe it's going to be in Austria. Now, we don't know what's going to happen next. Obviously, the dark occult has lost control. And today is full moon. And today, I'll be doing an ayahuasca ceremony because I got the calling from the Great Mother. Thank you, Mother Earth. And I don't think about it. Yes, there might be fear in me to do that. But do I have a choice? No. Because my will is far stronger to finally end this nightmare. It's enough. Now is the time to rise. And we will rise tomorrow. And we're gonna take this country back. For the children. For the elderly. For everyone. We are going to do that, and that is my promise to my heart. I will always do what is the right thing to do from now on. We are taking the world back. And it's happening here in Austria to me right now, in my experience. It's going to happen throughout the world, and it is happening throughout the world. It doesn't matter where it happens first. However, I have a feeling the first domino is about to fall in Austria. Looking forward to see you soon. Take very good care. All the very best to all of you. Bye bye.